Now I'm going to pass it over to Ryan Burrell. He is the Business Development Manager for Energy Efficiency and Electrification at Daikin Comfort Technologies. Take it over, Ryan.
Can you guys hear me okay?
I'll go with
Yes,
okay.
yes.
All right. Uh, Sorry, try to make sure I can share my screen. Can you guys see my screen all right?
Yes, we can see your screen.
All right, my apologies. All right. Yeah, good morning, everybody. Thank you all for taking the time and obviously having me, and thank you to Sia and DevSec for hosting. Yeah, my name's Ryan Burrell. I'm Business Development Manager at Dyken Comfort Technologies. I focus specifically on energy efficiency and electrification strategies. And today I really wanted to focus my portion on, Duct Diagnostics, but that relationship between rated performance and equipment efficiency, rated efficiency versus installed system performance and real world results. Uh, let's see if we can get this going here. All right. So I'm gonna jump through this. Yeah, that's a little bit about me. That's the system I installed at my house. Yeah, I can get my hands dirty every now and then. All right. So if you guys know me, I'm one of those folks who love to start off every presentation with uh, a quote and trying to get the mindset right for the talk. And so I had these quotes: "Learning and innovation go hand in hand. The arrogance of success is to think what you did yesterday will be sufficient for tomorrow." And I think that that quote's very fitting for where we're at in the HVAC industry. I think we've been in the middle of some major transition recently, and we're not simply swapping out old air conditioners and furnaces with slightly better versions of the same thing. We're asking the market to adopt more advanced heat pump technologies, more inverter driven systems, more connected controls, more grid interactive equipment, more utility aligned efficiency strategies. But the uncomfortable truth with all of this is advanced equipment does not automatically create advanced outcomes. But as for innovation, we have to be prepared as the industry. And that's really what I want to focus on, making sure that we kind of bridge that gap. Okay. All right, the performance gap. Equipment ratings define expected performance, and potential installation and operating conditions determine delivered performance. So as equipment ratings are based on defined test conditions, match components using very specific operating parameters. Installed systems operate in real homes with real duct systems and are controlled by system optimization engineers, or what I like to call real homeowners. The importance of the relationship between system performance and the duct system. Well, since our industry loves car analogies, if these two vehicles race each other, who do you think would win? If these two vehicles race each other, but both vehicles had 4 flat tires and both drivers were under the influence, who do you think would win? We don't know, right? Obviously, the car on the left would win, and I think that's the duct system is seriously it's like the tires of our vehicle. It is a great equalizer for equipment, and one could say technically. All right, so the common installation faults, and I have a lot of empathy for installers. I've installed equipment. I know how it feels to be in a 130-degree attic on a hot summer Georgia day. We when does most of our equipment get replaced? Is during the summer months. When is the least less likely time, or most safest time, I would say, for being in the attic, it's probably not during the summer. So, there's a lot of confusion with using the right materials. So I truly have empathy for the installer and what the information they have and what they are able to do. But it's kind of that situation where it's like they tell you to use UL 181 listed tape. Well, if you try to use UL 181 red letter tape, in a 130-degree attic and you happen to sweat a lot like I do, then that stuff does not stick very well. It's a flex to sheet metal to anything. And so, having that, using the something like foil tape, which is, what we don't want to use, that happens to stick. So like, there's a lot of situations where you just have to understand that, installers are doing the best with what they have. And they have no intent. They didn't wake up that morning to do something wrong. And if anything, it might just be a lack of information. So I put all these common installation faults. I don't mean to, obviously discuss or, bash, installers or anything like that, but this is a reality. Homeowners are purchasing 13, 14, 15, 16 SEER equipment every single day, and they are truly only getting, potentially, 6, 7 SEER, or the equivalent to, because of all these installation issues. All right, I'm going to highlight a few. All right, so when does that system performance and efficiency deliver on those equipment ratings? Well, high efficiency equipment delivers on its rated potential when installed systems are properly designed, applied, configured, measured, commissioned, and verified. Obviously, those guys are wearing Daikin shirts, so they're installing that system correctly. No, I'm just kidding. But no, it's true. Like, there's a process, and we have to. I mean, there's specifications for that process, and we have to follow it to the T. What is that specification? ACA Standard 5. ACA Standard 5 has been out for quite a while, but this actually defines what a quality installation looks like. That's the acceptable procedures for measuring airflow. I listed all those common installation faults, and with those common installation faults, a lot of them had a theme, and that was airflow, sealed ductwork, and basically, what Steve and Joe were talking about, and the tools that they have to be able to measure this is something that that we don't always have access to. So to be able to do this with the tools we have today, it's just a huge advantage. So ACA Standard 5 breaks down where faults or different aspects of it, and I kind of wanted to highlight, you have the design aspects. Things can go wrong there. You have distribution aspects, like we've been talking, like we're focused on today. We have equipment installation aspects, and then we have, making sure that proper system documentation and the homeowner and end user actually are educated to use the system properly. So important considerations highlighted in our Standard 5. Manual J room-to-room load calculations have a critical role in properly defining the spaces CFM requirements within your manual Duct design. So, if you get that wrong, you're going to start, everything's going to end up being wrong, because, those results are then also a critical piece in determining what your sensible latent heat split ratio is. And then that's the foundation for forming your manual S and, selecting the appropriate equipment. We talked a little bit about room pressure and airflow imbalances, how those create real, real customer complaints. All right, I'm going to speed up a little bit. I know. Southeast HVAC system retrofit realities: cooling capacity, heat pump feeding, humidity distribution. That's what we're really focused on. We're really focused on, obviously, controlling moisture, in and out of the home. So, key points: ducts are often in attics, crawl space, literally the worst places. Typically you could ever want them. Duct leakage, add sensible and latent load. Poor airflow can show up as humidity complaints. Reducing, oversizing, and all those installation faults end up kind of compounding. So, measuring airflow, control configuration, balance points, staging, auxiliary heat, those are critical pieces to making sure our systems are performing correctly. All right, so what's Daikin doing about all this, and how are we trying to change the game in helping, at least from new equipment installations? So our Daikin One cloud services, we are now, and this is currently available for contractors. is we can provide quality installation verification reports with a lot of our majority of our inverter heat pumps and AC furnaces, our Daikin fit line, as long as they're using our our one cloud services platform and controllers. We actually have the ability to provide commissioning reports. What we've been talking about, actually measuring and verifying like how the actual installation is going. So guided installation, charge calculation reports, charge verification reports, actual commissioning, telling us what capacity, how many BTUs, whatever you sold that customer, or whatever you promised to deliver that customer in BTUs, you can actually stand behind. We also have some indoor air quality sensors, as all of those are becoming more and more prevalent in the marketplace, and making sure that we can our homeowners becoming more aware of their environments with all the technology now. As far as tools and contractor training, HVAClearningcampus.com, we host that, and then we also have the Interplay Learning. So we have like technicians who can actually install our equipment in virtual reality. Have it like a lot of our folks in our industry, we learn by our hands and doing, and so this gives a different aspect into how a contractor can learn how to install these advanced products and advanced heat pumps and inverter systems without actually embarrassing themselves in front of the home. And so I just want to end on this last part. High performing HVAC system installations are produced by installers and techs who possess the appropriate knowledge, tools, and materials to perform the installation. They don't cut corners. They know the importance of a properly designed, sealed, and insulated duct system, especially when it comes to the equipment's performance, capacity, efficiency, and lifespan. And they take the time to measure and verify their results. That's a huge piece. All right, and that's
Thank you so much, Ryan.
yeah.
Thank you for highlighting that critical relationship between system design, installation, and diagnostics.